We're just a few hours away from kick-off against Bolton this afternoon, the first of our Her Game 2 double-header, and it's time to catch up with Chaz, who, with 2 games this weekend, is going to be a very busy man. Chaz, how are we on this drizzly, damp morning?
Yeah, not too bad. We got an early pitch prep in. We're not sure what the weather's going to do, so it's all done. So I'm a bit of a tidy up now. All the frost covers are going away because obviously when they're all down that side with the girls coming in tomorrow, women, the women coming in tomorrow, if they're doing any signings or anything, then I'd like them on the Astro, obviously. And so we've been putting the covers away for the last few days, which is no small task, and the boys have done brilliantly. We've got it sorted now, I think, with the covers. Not the most enjoyable job to do, but
quite heavy as well, aren't they?
They are very heavy. Yeah, you gave us a lift yesterday, and
I
must admit,
that's what I was hinting at.
In a scale of 1 to 10, you two, your concentration levels weren't great. And 20 years ago, you might have heard a bit of foul language just to try and get you into line. But
I was stood on the wrong side.
The modern Chaz is a lot more polite than he used to be, because he has to be.
I was actually stood on the wrong side of the covers for most of the time.
Yeah, you're not the only person to do that, but a bit of concentration's good. Yeah, more than 2 seconds.
Had lots to do yesterday, Chaz. Lots to do.
Well, we appreciate your help.
Let's talk about the weather then. February was, in a word, wet.
Yeah, it was the wettest. I think we had 50% more rain than we traditionally get on an average February, and I think the temperatures were at 1.5 degrees, which I heard bandied around on the radio this week. Which may not mean a lot, but it may mean the difference between grass growing and grass not growing. You can see the pictures, the pictures hardly stopped growing all season. We had that real cold snap where the covers were out for. That was the only time it stopped growing. Other than that, we've been taking a bit of grass off every time we've cut. And the pitch has been, we've been very lucky. We haven't had any games when it's been really wet, and we haven't had a run of games when it's been particularly wet. You can take one game, but if you get a run of games, like if it was very wet at the moment, Saturday, Sunday, and then Saturday again, by the end of next Saturday, you could be looking, it wouldn't deteriorate drastically now because we've got long daylight hours, but, if it had been in the middle of winter, it would have been very different. And there's a lot of pitches, the groundsmen of the pitches that are being flagged up that they're struggling to get games on. They work as hard as I do. They're as passionate as I am, and we are at Exeter. But they've just had a bit of bad luck. They may have not got. I think one of them was in the playoffs, so he wasn't able to get his pitch done early, and all those things. And 2 years ago his pitch was runner-up in the league. So it's all about a bit of luck and a bit of forethought, and if the more games you have on a pitch, the less grass you will have. Which is why they're going down the plastic route, either carpets or stitching into your pitch. So all those options are there, and it's all things we need to understand and debate and make sure we know exactly what we're going into going forward. But that's a different story. But we're looking good, very happy with things. Got a bit of growth, got some fertiliser on since the last game. Got although we've had a lot of rain. We punched some holes in the ground and we were able to leave them for a little while, keep them open to get this rain going through. So the surface will be as good as it's been all season, and it will only get better now, hopefully, going into the final furlong. And the boys will be walking out on that last day with hopefully something which, looks like Wembley. And, we can all have a proud season that the pitch has done its job. And that's, obviously fingers crossed.
Given, obviously, the women's game here tomorrow, does your post-match work on the pitch differ to what you'd usually do? Is the more you need to do, or is it just almost maintaining what we see today?
No, it'd be similar to what we do today. We don't just run the mowers over for the sake of it, so we'll assess it at the end of today, and we may or may not do something tomorrow. But if it's rainy and wet, we don't like putting the mowers across it because it just squeezes the wet bits down. The women will get exactly what we give for the men, it will be fine. As groundsmen, we quite like it when it's back to back because it means we don't then have to. It means we get the 2-week windows where we can aerate and we can do other operations and fertilise. But I appreciate that other staff members, it's for other departments, it's a bit of they prefer it every other weekend. So we've done one every other weekend and one together. So, but look, going forward, there's lots to think about within the club about how we manage the usage of the pitch, and it's going to be an interesting time the next few years as more and more people want to play on it, which is understandable. Why wouldn't you?
Testament to your hard work, I think. They wouldn't want to play on a bog, would they? So if people are wanting to play on it, you're clearly doing something right.
Yeah. I would say I would, but I've got too many aches and pains.
And I'm not very good. Well, obviously we've got to talk about food. What was for breakfast this morning?
We had BLT baguettes, Ryan's speciality.
That's the original.
Yeah,
BLT.
smashed it out of the park. And we've got cake, to be honest. We've got cake, an abundance of cake today. John's brought in chocolate cake today, and we were donated a sponge cake at the training ground by the lady who does the catering at the down at the Astro on the Saturdays and Sundays. We did a favour for her, and she brought us in a cake yesterday, which I said, no, you don't need to, but she obviously forced the cake on me, so we have to eat it. But we had half of it yesterday, and just as well we'd finished the day because we wouldn't have moved after it, and we're going to have a bit more in a minute. So if you hang around, you might get a bit yourself.
I mean, me, Scott and Zandy, I think we're hanging with the wrong people. We never get cake. Anyway.
I know that's a massive fib, because there's often I come in there and there are crumbs in there, and I can sniff a cake out any day of the week.
Cake,
there's
pastries.
plenty of crumbs, and I'm sure you hide it from me. Chaz is coming, hide the cake.
Oh, and I won't name them, but there is a particular fan as well that sometimes makes me sausage rolls on a match day, which is very kind of her. Look, I'll let you crack on because you've got a busy weekend, and here's to 6 points.
Yeah, here's to 6 points, or 9 by the time we get to next weekend.
Even better.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
Chaz.
you. Cheers, dude.